In the waiting area of the pediatric hospital's emergency room, a man in his 40s sat beside a young boy who appeared to be around 7 years old. The child was flushed with fever, his cheeks bright red, and his eyes filled with tears. It was evident that he was very unwell. "I feel terrible," the boy whimpered. "My head hurts so much, and I'm so thirsty and sleepy. When will they let us see the doctor?" The man looked at him with irritation and replied harshly, "Why are you whining like a little girl? Stop crying. I didn't know you were so sensitive. It's just a sore throat. And you'd probably get better without coming to the hospital. This is all your teacher's fault. She made me come pick you up from school, and I even had to leave work early for this." At that moment, Dr. Ava, a pediatrician, overheard the exchange as she hurried past them. She paused, feeling sympathy for the boy, and approached them. "Hello there, what's your name, sweetie? Are you feeling sick? Your dad says you have a sore throat, but let me take a look. It's quite busy in the emergency room today, so it might be a while before you're seen, but I can check your throat now." The boy looked up at her and replied seriously, "My name is Olivia, and I don't have a sore throat. I have rubella. I know it's rubella, but my dad doesn't believe me. He thinks I'm lying, but I feel really bad, and I'm very thirsty." Dr. Ava was taken aback. Noticing the red spots on the boy's skin and his swollen lymph nodes, she realized the child was likely correct. "Olivia, I'm amazed you figured that out, but you're right. You do have rubella, and it's contagious. We need to admit you to the hospital right away," she said, then turned to the man. "Are you his father? May I see your ID? We need to admit Olivia to the infectious disease ward." The man sighed heavily. "I'm his stepfather, Irvin. Here's my ID. Are you sure he needs to be hospitalized? I don't have time for this, and I can't visit him in the hospital. I have work." Dr. Ava adjusted her glasses and looked at him sternly. "Olivia has an infectious disease. We need to isolate him so he doesn't spread it to others, and we need to start treatment immediately. You don't have to stay at the hospital all the time. Olivia is a big boy. And we have excellent staff here who will take good care of him. I'll give you a list of things to bring to the hospital, but we need to move quickly to get him admitted and start treatment." Surprisingly, the boy seemed relieved after hearing the doctor's words. "Daddy, you can go home. I'll stay here. Just bring me my robot and some coloring books, please." "I'll be okay," he said with a small smile. The stepfather quickly filled out the necessary paperwork, took the list of items to bring, and left without much concern for the boy's well-being. As he walked away, it was clear that Olivia was just another responsibility to him, not someone he truly cared about. Dr. Ava watched him go, feeling a deep sense of compassion for the boy who had already lost his mother and was now being neglected by his stepfather. Ava thought sympathetically, "I should talk to Olivia tomorrow and ask him about his life. I'll bring him some treats too." As Olivia started to feel better, it became clear that he was a very sociable child. He eagerly chatted with the kind doctor, sharing stories about his life. "My mom was a pediatrician, just like you," he began. "Sometimes women with their children would come to our house, and my mom would examine them at home. She taught me about the diseases kids can get, so I knew right away that I had rubella. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor too, but my stepdad, Irvin, doesn't want me to. He's a terrible person. I don't like him, and I don't want to live with him." Ava was taken aback by his candidness. She gently asked, "What happened to your mom? Does your stepfather hurt you? If he does, you don't have to keep it to yourself. You can tell me." Olivia nodded and continued, "My mom died. She went to visit a friend in a small town and got into a car accident. I cried a lot, and I wanted to go to the funeral to say goodbye to her. But Irvin wouldn't let me. He got the neighbor to babysit me and went to the funeral alone. He said I was too young to handle it, but I think it's his fault my mom died. But no one believes me." "Are you sure about that, Olivia?" Ava asked gently. "Maybe it just seems that way to you." Olivia's face tightened with emotion as he recounted, "My mom and I used to live together, just the two of us, and we were happy. She was always cheerful, laughing a lot. We'd go to the park, ride the swings, and eat ice cream. We lived in another city back then. But after we moved here and Irvin moved in with us, everything changed. They started arguing a lot, mostly because of me. Irvin didn't want to live with me. He tried to convince my mom to send me to my grandmother's in a small town and leave me there, but she refused. Then my mom's relative, Uncle Gregory, died and she got an inheritance. After that, the fights got worse. It was scary. I'd cover my ears and cry so I wouldn't hear them yelling. And then, my mom died, but Irvin didn't seem sad at all. Now he talks about my mom's inheritance on the phone with someone, and I live alone with him. He doesn't hit me, but he scolds me a lot and makes me feel bad. I hate living with him, and I miss my mom so much. Ava's heart broke for the boy. She hugged him, trying to offer some comfort. Don't cry, Olivia. I understand how much you miss your mom, and I know things are really hard for you right now. I'm not sure how I can help, but I promise I'll think about it. Would you like to come to my house? I have a funny cat named Thomas. He's fluffy and very affectionate. We can cook something yummy together and then watch a cartoon. Olivia's eyes lit up with excitement. Of course, I'd love to play with your cat. I've always wanted a pet. You're so kind, just like my mom. When can we go to your place? Will we get in trouble for leaving the hospital? Ava realized that what she was considering wasn't allowed, and if the hospital administration found out, she could face serious consequences. But seeing Olivia's hopeful face, she really wanted to find a way to bring some joy back into his life. The boy's face lit up with happiness. Despite his young age, he already had so many burdens to bear. Ava thought for a moment and then smiled. Tomorrow is my day off, so there won't be many people around at the hospital. Your stepfather said he wouldn't be visiting until Monday, and the head of the infectious disease department won't be around either. So, let's make this our little secret. You're almost fully recovered, and your fever is gone, so let's have some fun. On Saturday, Ava picked Olivia up from the hospital and took him to her house. She felt a deep sense of joy taking care of the boy. They spent the day laughing, joking, discussing cartoons, and baking cupcakes. It was clear that Olivia was equally enjoying her company. Throughout the day, Ava couldn't stop thinking about how she could help him. She wondered if Irvin was hiding something, if he might have been involved in Olivia's mom's death. As the day went on, Ava managed to gather some information about Irvin. She discovered that he worked at a car repair shop, which meant he could have had the means to tamper with the vehicle, potentially causing the accident that killed Olivia's mother. The realization that people could do horrible things for money chilled her. Meanwhile, Olivia's curiosity led him to a photo album on a shelf. "Can I look at this album?" he asked. "I have one at home too, with pictures of me and my mom. Sometimes I look at them and talk to her." Ava nodded, pulling the album down and opening it up. She pointed out a picture. "This is me when I was a little girl, and this is me in high school. I used to look funny, didn't I? I was a chubby girl, and I had to wear glasses. I was so embarrassed boys at school used to make fun of me all the time." She smiled wistfully. "And this is my best friend, Jack. She once saved my life. We were camping, and I fell into the water and started drowning. All the boys were too scared to help, but Jack jumped in and pulled me out. Even though I was heavier than she was. We studied together at medical university, and I still think about her often." Suddenly, Olivia's eyes widened in surprise. "That's my mom," he exclaimed. "I'm sure we have the same picture in our album. So you knew my mom, Ava. Will you help me, please? I don't want to go back home and live with my stepfather. I don't feel safe there, but I feel safe with you. I wish you could be my mom now." Tears welled up in Ava's eyes, and she hugged the boy, gently stroking his hair. She didn't know what to say, but her heart had already decided she would go to the police, tell them everything, and try to help Olivia in any way she could. For some reason, this child had touched her deeply. She treated many children at the hospital every day, but there was something special about Olivia that made her feel an immediate attachment. Later, Ava put Olivia to bed and watched him smile as he drifted off to sleep. That night, she couldn't sleep herself. She kept tossing and turning, her mind consumed with memories of her own past. Since childhood, Ava had never been considered beautiful. She was often teased for her appearance and felt unattractive. Other children at school insulted her, but she knew how to stand up for herself. However, she was always envious of the pretty, skinny girls who seemed to have everything she didn't. She had no friends, except for Jack. Jack was a petite girl, and the two of them looked rather mismatched together, but they learned to ignore their cruel peers. They set a common goal to get into medical university together, and they spent every evening studying in the library instead of going out like their classmates. Their hard work paid off, and both of them were accepted into the university. After starting medical school, Ava's life changed completely. She lost a lot of weight, probably because she was too busy to eat, and she became more self-confident as no one bullied her anymore. She threw herself into her studies, participated in student competitions, and never hesitated to speak in front of an audience. Meanwhile, Jack, who had always been beautiful, had many admirers. After graduation, Jack married and moved to another city with her husband, and the friends lost touch. Ava began working at a municipal hospital and excelled in her career, but her personal life didn't fare as well. She dreamed of falling in love and going on dates, but having been raised by a strict mother, she was too shy. She always chose modest clothes and never wore makeup, so she had no idea where to meet men or how to talk to them. One day, everything changed when she ran into her former classmate, Mia, on the street. Mia looked her up and down and said with a sneer, "Well, hello, Elvia. You haven't changed at all, though at least you've lost some weight." Ava fired back, "Well, you haven't changed either. You're still the same rude, stupid person. You know, I'm working as a pediatrician now. I got what I wanted. What about you? How are you doing?" Mia's tone suddenly shifted. "Really? Wow, good for you. I'm working as a hairdresser at a beauty salon." "Ava, I'm sorry for talking to you like that." He was unmoved. Dominic coldly told her that his decision was final, and nothing she said would change his mind. He packed his things and left that night, leaving Ava devastated and heartbroken. In the following days, Ava was a mess. She couldn't focus at work, barely slept, and felt completely alone. The joy she once felt from her pregnancy was overshadowed by the pain of her husband's betrayal. She couldn't understand how everything had fallen apart so quickly. The man she thought she would spend the rest of her life with had not only left her but had also been unfaithful for a long time. As the weeks passed, Ava struggled to pick up the pieces of her life. She forced herself to go to work, trying to find solace in helping her young patients. But every day was a challenge, and the loneliness weighed heavily on her. One day, after a particularly tough day at the hospital, Ava ran into Mia again. Sensing something was wrong, Mia invited Ava out for coffee. Ava hesitated, but she needed someone to talk to, so she agreed. As they sat in the cozy cafe, Mia listened as Ava poured out her heart, telling her about the betrayal, the pregnancy, and how lost she felt. Mia was shocked by the story but offered her support. "You know, Ava," Mia said gently, "you don't need a man like Dominic in your life. He's shown you his true colors and you deserve so much better. You're strong, smart, and you're going to be an amazing mother. Don't let him take away your happiness." Ava wiped away her tears and nodded. Mia's words were comforting, but the pain was still raw. "I just don't know how to move on, Mia. I thought we had a future together. I wanted a family." "You still have a future," Ava, Mia replied firmly. "It's just going to be different from what you imagined. But that doesn't mean it won't be good. Focus on your baby, on your career, and on yourself. You've always been strong and you can get through this." Encouraged by Mia's words, Ava decided to take things one day at a time. She threw herself into her work and started preparing for the baby's arrival. Slowly but surely she began to rebuild her life. It wasn't easy, but with each passing day she felt a little stronger. As the months went by, Ava realized that she didn't need Dominic to be happy. She could create a loving and stable environment for her child on her own, and when her baby boy was finally born, she felt a surge of love and purpose like never before. Holding her son in her arms, she knew that everything she had gone through had led her to this moment. Ava named her son Michael, in honor of the little boy she had once helped recover from bronchitis. She was determined to give him the best life possible, filled with love, support, and happiness. And though the road ahead would have its challenges, Ava knew she was strong enough to face them. She had found a new sense of purpose and a renewed determination to build a beautiful life for herself and her son. No matter what the future held, she was ready to embrace it with open arms. It needs to be done carefully and without raising any alarms. "After all, we don't want anyone connecting the dots back to us," Irvin said, with a smirk, clearly enjoying the twisted plan he had concocted. Ava's heart raced as she listened to their conversation. The more Irvin spoke, the more it became evident that he was indeed planning something sinister. This was no longer just about inheritance, it was about the life of an innocent child. As Irvin continued to boast about his plans, Ava discreetly recorded every word. The tape recorder captured Irvin's confession about manipulating the situation to his advantage and his callous disregard for Olivia's well-being. Ava knew this evidence could be the key to saving Olivia. After what felt like an eternity, the meeting finally ended. Irvin and the woman left the restaurant, unaware that their entire conversation had been recorded. Ava waited a few minutes before leaving the restaurant herself, clutching the recorder and camera tightly. She knew she had to act quickly to protect Olivia. The next morning, Ava took the evidence to the police. She explained everything, from Olivia's fear of his stepfather to the recorded confession she had obtained. The police officers listened intently and reviewed the evidence. It was clear to them that Irvin was a dangerous man, and immediate action was necessary. Ava felt a mixture of relief and anxiety as the police assured her that they would investigate the situation thoroughly. She had done everything she could to protect Olivia, but the thought of what might happen next filled her with dread. Later that day, the police arrived at Irvin's house with a warrant. They arrested him on suspicion of foul play related to his wife's death and potential harm to Olivia. The evidence Ava had gathered was enough to start a full investigation, and Olivia was placed in protective custody while the case unfolded. When Olivia learned that Irvin had been arrested, he cried tears of both fear and relief. He was scared of what might happen, but he was also relieved to be away from the man who had caused him so much pain. Ava visited Olivia as soon as she could, and when he saw her, he ran into her arms. "Ava, I'm so scared, but I'm so glad you're here," he whispered. Ava hugged him tightly and whispered back, "You're safe now, Olivia. I promise I'll do everything I can to make sure you're never hurt again." Over the next few weeks, as the investigation continued, Ava took care of Olivia. The bond between them grew stronger, and Ava realized that she had found a new purpose in life. Olivia was no longer just a patient, he had become like a son to her. Eventually, the truth about Irvin's actions came to light. The police uncovered his involvement in his wife's death and his plans to harm Olivia. He was convicted and sentenced to prison, ensuring that he could no longer hurt anyone. With Irvin out of the picture, the authorities began to look for a permanent home for Olivia. Ava knew that she wanted to be the one to care for him. She had come to love Olivia as if he were her own child, and she couldn't bear the thought of him being placed with strangers. After a thorough evaluation, Ava was granted custody of Olivia. The two of them moved into a new home, where they could start fresh and build a life together. Ava no longer felt the pain of her past as sharply as before. She had found a new kind of happiness with Olivia. As they settled into their new life, Ava knew that she had done the right thing. She had saved Olivia from a dangerous situation and given him the love and security he deserved. In return, Olivia had filled the void in Ava's heart, helping her heal from her own losses. Together, they created a family built on love, trust, and mutual support. And as time passed, the pain of their pasts faded, replaced by the joy of their new life together. And only took care of him because it was necessary for appearances. When he arrived home, Irvin was surprised to find the house empty. He searched every room, calling out for Olivia, but there was no response. Panic began to set in as he realized the boy was gone. Irvin immediately grabbed his phone and called his girlfriend, Zoe. "Olivia's gone. The little brat must have run away. What if someone finds him and he talks? This could ruin everything," he hissed into the phone. Zoe, though annoyed, tried to calm him down. "Don't be so dramatic, Irvin. The boy's just a kid. How far could he have gone? He's probably hiding somewhere, scared out of his mind. Just find him and bring him back before anyone notices." Irvin hung up and quickly searched the surrounding area, but there was no sign of Olivia. He even asked the neighbors if they had seen the boy, but no one had. Panic turned into anger as Irvin realized that his carefully laid plans were falling apart. Meanwhile, Ava and Olivia were safe in the small town, hidden away at Helena's house. Ava tried to keep Olivia's spirits up by keeping him busy with chores and games, but she knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. The looming fear that Irvin would find them weighed heavily on her. One morning, as Ava was watering the garden, a car she didn't recognize drove slowly past the house. Her heart skipped a beat as she watched it, wondering if Irvin had finally found them. The car eventually drove off, but the incident left Ava shaken. She knew they had to come up with a plan, and quickly. That evening, as they sat down to dinner, Ava discussed her worries with Helena. "Mom, I don't think we can stay here much longer. I'm afraid Irvin might find us, and who knows what he'll do if he does. We need to figure out a way to protect Olivia, permanently." Helena nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "I agree, Ava, but what can we do? We don't have any concrete proof of what Irvin's planning, and without that, the authorities might not take us seriously." Ava thought for a moment, then said, "I need to go back to the city. I'll try to gather more evidence against Irvin. If I can prove that he's a danger to Olivia, maybe the police will listen and take action." Helena was hesitant but knew that Ava was right. "Just be careful, Ava. Don't let him catch you. And if you find anything, come back here immediately." The next day, Ava left Olivia with Helena and headed back to the city. She knew it was risky, but she was determined to protect Olivia. She started by returning to the places where Irvin frequented, hoping to overhear something incriminating. After a few days of careful observation, Ava's patience paid off. She managed to record a conversation between Irvin and Zoe, where they discussed their plans to get rid of the kid once and for all. It was clear that they were plotting something sinister, and this time, Ava had the proof she needed. Armed with this new evidence, Ava went straight to the police. She played the recording for them and explained the entire situation. The officers were alarmed by what they heard and agreed to take immediate action. They assured Ava that Olivia would be protected and that Irvin would be investigated thoroughly. The following day, the police arrested Irvin and Zoe, charging them with conspiracy to harm Olivia and investigating their involvement in Jack's death. Olivia was officially placed under Ava's guardianship, and the boy finally had a chance at a safe and happy life. Ava returned to the small town with the good news, and for the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of relief. She had done it. She had protected Olivia and ensured that Irvin could never hurt him again. As they settled into their new life, Ava, Olivia, and Helena became a close-knit family. They supported each other through the challenges and found joy in the simple pleasures of life. Though their journey had been difficult, it had brought them together and taught them the true meaning of love and family. Irvin was taken aback by his mother's harsh words. He had always seen her as meek and submissive, someone who would never stand up to him. But now, standing on her dilapidated porch, Veronica looked at him with a mix of anger and disappointment, and Irvin realized that he had underestimated her. "Mom, what are you talking about?" Irvin stammered, trying to maintain his composure. "I didn't kill Jack." "That's a ridiculous accusation. I'm just here to find Olivia. He ran away, and I need to bring him back. He's my responsibility now." Veronica narrowed her eyes, not buying her son's excuses. "A responsibility? Since when have you ever cared about anyone but yourself, Irvin? You abandoned me here in this rundown house without a second thought. You didn't even care to visit or check if I was alive, and now you come here asking about Olivia, acting like you're some concerned father. I know you, Irvin. I know what you're capable of." Irvin's face turned red with frustration. "Mom, listen. I don't have time for this. Olivia is missing, and if I don't find him soon, there's going to be trouble. I don't want to argue with you. Just tell me if you've seen him or not." Veronica crossed her arms, her gaze unwavering. "Why should I help you? You've never done anything for me, and now you expect me to help you find a child you don't even care about. I know why you're really here, Irvin. You're afraid. You're afraid that the truth about Jack's death will come out, and you're trying to cover your tracks." Irvin's patience was wearing thin. He knew he wasn't going to get anywhere with his mother if he didn't play his cards right. "Fine," he said through gritted teeth. "Maybe I haven't been the best son, and maybe I've made some mistakes, but I'm still your son. You can't just turn your back on me. I need your help, Mom, please." Veronica's expression softened slightly, but she didn't fully relent. "If I help you, Irvin, it's not because I trust you. It's because I'm worried about Olivia. That boy deserves better than what you've given him. But I want you to understand something. If you hurt that child, if anything happens to him, I will make sure you pay for it. Do you understand me?" Irvin nodded, though the anger still simmered beneath his forced calm. "I understand. Now do you know where he is?" Veronica sighed and shook her head. "I don't know exactly where he is, but I have a feeling Ava has him. She was here yesterday with Helena. They didn't say much, but I could tell they were hiding something. If they've taken him in, they're doing it to protect him from you." Irvin clenched his fists, furious that Ava had outmaneuvered him. "I'll find them," he muttered under his breath, "and when I do, I'll make sure they regret crossing me." Veronica's eyes flashed with anger. "If you hurt Ava or Olivia, you'll have to answer to me, Irvin. I may be old, but I'm not helpless. Remember that." Irvin gave her one last cold look before turning on his heel and storming back to his car. As he drove away, his mind raced with thoughts of how to get Olivia back and how to deal with Ava. He knew he couldn't afford any more mistakes. The walls were closing in, and if he didn't act quickly, everything he had worked for would crumble around him. The investigator listened to Ava's pleas with a sympathetic but firm expression. "I understand your concerns, Ava, but the law is clear. Without legal guardianship, we can't allow Olivia to stay with you indefinitely. We need to follow proper procedures." Ava, her face flushed with desperation, wiped away her tears. "Please, I understand the rules, but Olivia is in a fragile state. He's already been through so much. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to ensure he's safe and with people who care for him. I'm a pediatrician. I know how important stability and familiarity are for a child in his situation." The investigator nodded thoughtfully. "We can look into expedited guardianship proceedings, but it's a process. You'll need to prove your case and undergo background checks. Meanwhile, Olivia's welfare must be our priority. If you have any evidence or documentation that can support your claim, please provide it." Ava took a deep breath, trying to compose herself. "I'll do everything I can. I have evidence that Irvin was involved in Jack's death and was planning to harm Olivia. I can show you the recordings and testimonies I have. I just need some time to prepare everything." The investigator agreed. "We'll review the evidence and see how it aligns with our investigation. For now, we'll place Olivia in temporary care with a foster family until we resolve the legal issues. I'll do my best to ensure that he's placed with someone who can provide the care and stability he needs." Ava nodded, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. "Thank you. I'll get the evidence ready and work on the legal procedures. I promise I won't stop fighting for Olivia's safety and well-being." The investigator gave her a reassuring look. "We appreciate your dedication. Just remember, the legal process can take time, but we'll make every effort to expedite it given the circumstances." Ava left the police station feeling both hopeful and overwhelmed. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but she was determined to do whatever it took to secure Olivia's future. She headed back to Veronica's house to update her on the situation. When Ava arrived, Veronica and Helena were anxiously waiting. "I've spoken to the police," Ava said, trying to sound positive. "They're going to review the evidence and expedite the guardianship process, but Olivia will need to stay with a foster family for now." Veronica's face was a mix of relief and worry. "I hope this all gets sorted out quickly. Olivia deserves to be safe and happy. I'm sorry for everything." Helena placed a comforting hand on Ava's shoulder. "You've done everything you can. We'll support you however we can. Let's focus on getting through this and making sure Olivia knows he's cared for." As Ava looked at the people around her, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The path ahead was uncertain, but she knew she had to keep fighting for Olivia's sake. The conversation with Oliver was both a relief and a new beginning for Ava. As she hung up the phone, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction and peace. Everything she had fought for Olivia's safety, her new life with him, and the justice served for Jack had come together in a way she could only have hoped for. Over the next few days, Ava and Olivia settled into their new routine. The city was a big change from the small town, but Olivia adapted quickly, finding comfort in the new environment and the stable, loving care Ava provided. The adjustment was smooth, with Ava ensuring that Olivia's new life was as normal and comforting as possible. On Monday, Ava met with Oliver at his private clinic. The modern facilities and friendly staff were a stark contrast to her old job, and she was impressed by the efficiency and warmth of the place. "Wow, Oliver, this place is amazing," Ava remarked as she took a tour of the clinic. Oliver smiled. "I'm glad you like it. We've worked hard to create a welcoming environment for both patients and staff. Now tell me about this new son of yours. I'm dying to hear how that happened." Ava took a deep breath, reflecting on the whirlwind of the past few months. "It's quite a story. Olivia was a child I met under very difficult circumstances. His stepfather was abusive, and after a tragic accident involving his mother, I ended up becoming his guardian. It was a tough journey, but now we're settling into our new life together. It's been a lot of changes, but I'm incredibly happy." Oliver looked at her with admiration. "That sounds like quite an ordeal, but it's wonderful to hear how things have worked out, and I'm glad you're considering joining us here. We could use someone with your dedication and expertise." Ava smiled, feeling a sense of excitement and relief. "I'd love to join the clinic. I'm ready for a new chapter, and this place feels like the right fit." As they discussed the details of her new role, Ava felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was embarking on a new career path and a new life with Olivia, and she knew that the challenges she had faced had only made her stronger and more determined. The new family dynamic between Ava, Oliver, and Olivia brought warmth and happiness to their lives. The bond they shared grew stronger with each passing day, and Ava couldn't have been more thrilled to have found love and a new family. The pregnancy news added an extra layer of joy to their lives, and Olivia eagerly anticipated the arrival of his new sibling. The visit to Ava's mother, Veronica, was an opportunity to reconnect and celebrate their newfound happiness. Veronica, who had settled comfortably into her life in the small town, was touched by their gesture of bringing gifts and spending time together. As they gathered around the dinner table, the conversation shifted to a letter Veronica had recently received from Irvin, now in prison. His letter revealed the troubled life he was living behind bars and his regret over the choices he had made. Irvin wrote that Zoe, his mistress, had a baby girl before she died in childbirth. He mentioned how he fears for his daughter's future and believes he's being punished for his past actions. Veronica shared. He's worried that his daughter might end up in an orphanage, just like Olivia could have if we hadn't intervened. Ava and Oliver exchanged glances, touched by the depth of Irvin's remorse. Ava spoke softly. "It's a sad situation. It's clear he's reflecting on his actions and feeling the weight of his choices. I hope his daughter finds a better path, even if it's not with him." Oliver nodded in agreement. "It's a tragic outcome for everyone involved, but it's a reminder of the importance of compassion and the impact our actions have on others." The conversation eventually moved on to lighter topics, and the evening continued with laughter and shared stories. Ava felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that despite the hardships and challenges, she had built a loving family and created a positive change in Olivia's life. As they prepared to leave, Veronica handed Ava a small box. "This is for you, dear. A little something to remember our time together and the joy of our reunion." Ava opened the box to find a delicate necklace with a pendant shaped like a heart. Touched, she hugged her mother tightly. "Thank you, Mom. It means so much to me." Back at home, the family settled into their routine, looking forward to the future with hope and excitement. Ava and Oliver's relationship deepened, and Olivia thrived in the loving environment they had created for him. Their story, marked by resilience and newfound happiness, was a testament to the power of love and the strength found in creating a supportive family. As they awaited the arrival of their new baby, they knew their lives would continue to be filled with joy, challenges, and the shared commitment to nurturing the family they had built together. Ava's reflections on her life were filled with a sense of gratitude and realization. She had come a long way from the person she once thought she was, a woman struggling with self-doubt and heartache, to someone who had built a loving family and found true happiness. As she shared her thoughts with Oliver during their quiet moments together, she couldn't help but marvel at how much her life had transformed. "Life is indeed unpredictable," Ava mused, her hand resting gently on her growing belly. "I used to think that my worth was tied to my career and my struggles. But meeting Olivia, and now building this family with you, has shown me that love and family are what truly matter." Oliver, always supportive, listened intently. "You've grown so much, Ava. You've given so much love and care to both Olivia and Hope. You've turned your life around in ways you might never have imagined." Ava smiled at him, feeling a deep sense of contentment. "It's funny, isn't it? I spent so many years feeling unworthy, but now I see that everything I went through led me to where I am now, surrounded by love and happiness. I feel so blessed." Their evenings together, sipping tea and sharing their thoughts, became a cherished routine. They talked about their hopes for the future, their plans for the growing family, and how they wanted to nurture the bonds they had created. Their life as a blended family was filled with its own set of challenges, but their commitment to each other and to the children made every moment worthwhile. Oliver and Ava worked together to ensure that Olivia felt secure and loved, and that Hope, despite her difficult start in life, thrived in a warm and caring environment. Ava's career transition to Oliver's private clinic was a positive change. She found fulfillment in her work, now more than ever, and was able to balance her professional and personal life effectively. The couple's dedication to their family extended beyond their own home, as they continued to support and care for Veronica and her home in the small town. As Ava prepared for the arrival of their new baby, she felt a profound sense of joy and anticipation. Their family was growing, and they were ready to embrace the new chapter with open hearts. The future looked bright for Ava, Oliver, Olivia, and Hope. Their journey, marked by love, resilience, and the courage to start anew, was a testament to the power of family and the endless possibilities that life could offer when approached with an open heart. Ava looked into Oliver's eyes, her heart full of emotion. "I was wrong before," she said softly. "I used to think that career success and personal struggles defined me, but now I know that the most important thing is having you by my side and being with our children. Only now do I truly feel happy." Oliver embraced her, his heart swelling with love and contentment. "Thank you for everything, my love," he murmured. "You've brought so much light into my life, and seeing you so happy means the world to me." They held each other tightly, feeling the calmness and warmth of their shared love. In that moment, surrounded by their growing family, Ava and Oliver knew that their journey together was just beginning.